Foreign relations of the Republic of Turkey are the Turkish government's policies in its external relations with the international community. Historically, based on the Western-inspired reforms of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, such policies have placed heavy emphasis on Turkey's relationship with the Western world, especially in relation to the United States, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and the European Union. The post-Cold War period has seen a diversification of relations, with Turkey seeking to strengthen its regional presence in the Balkans, the Middle East and the Caucasus, as well as its historical goal of EU membership. Under the JDP government, Turkey's influence has grown in the Middle East based on the strategic depth doctrine, also called Neo-Ottomanism. Debate on Turkey in the West is sharply divided between those who see Turkey moving away from the West toward a more Middle Eastern and Islamic orientation and those who see Ankara's improved ties with its Islamic neighbors as a natural progression toward balance and diversification. European Union. The Turkish application to join the European Economic Community as an associate member in 1959 soon resulted in associate membership in 1963, with full membership being acknowledged as the final goal. However, problems in foreign policy such as the Cyprus conflict and the internal political turbulence from the 1970s until the early 1980s forced Turkey to delay applying for full membership of the European Community until 1987. The application was rejected, although the EC did say that Turkish membership could occur at some point in the future. An EU-Turkey customs union came into effect on 1 January 1996, allowing goods to travel between Turkey and the EU member states without customs restrictions. Although it crucially stopped short of lifting restrictions in areas such as agriculture, the European Union confirmed Turkey's status as candidate for membership at the European Council's Helsinki summit in 1999. The accession talks did not follow immediately, however, as the EU said Turkey had to make significant reforms, particularly in the field of human rights, before the talks could begin. Turkey's current administration has identified EU membership as its top priority, and has taken many, and sometimes controversial, reform packages through the parliament aimed at gradually harmonizing Turkey with EU standards. Since October 2005, Turkey has formally started accession negotiations with the EU, and these will be based on the Acquis communautaire. The EU accession bid has stimulated Turkey's political and legal reforms and intensified the democratization process. Greece-Aegean disputes constitute one of the main reasons for the fluctuating course of Turkish-Greek relations. There is a series of interconnected problems between Turkey and Greece, all emanating from the Aegean Sea. The length of territorial waters, demarcation of the continental shelf, determination of maritime search and rescue zones, airspace disputes, militarization of the eastern Aegean islands in breach of international agreements, the status of certain Aegean islets which Turkey claims were not ceded to Greece by international agreements, and the absence of an agreement defining maritime borders with Greece in the Aegean are the major disputes between the two countries. These disputes remain unresolved mainly because of a lack of common understanding between the two sides regarding the existence and methods of solution of the problems, rejecting the existence of other disputes. Greece notes that the only dispute in the Aegean is the continental shelf issue and claims that it can only be resolved by jurisprudence. Turkey's stated view is that the Aegean Sea is a common sea and that no sovereignty rights should be claimed over the open seas and international airspaces in the Aegean Sea. Since August 1999, Turkey and Greece have conducted a series of confidence-building measures to improve relations concerning these matters. On Monday, 23 December 2011, in an interview on Turkish newspaper Bugün discussing secret budgets Former Turkish Prime Minister Mesut Yilmaz allegedly admitted that Turkish secret agents intentionally started forest fires in Greece between 1995 and 1997 during the prime ministership of Tansu Çiller as retaliation of forest fires in western Turkey in 1995 started by Greek agents, resulting in huge damage caused by major forest fires on the islands of the eastern Aegean and in Macedonia. Mesut Yilmaz's admission sparked political outrage in Greece, causing Greece's foreign ministry spokesman Grigoris Delivekiouris to say that the claims were serious and must be investigated, adding that Athens was awaiting a briefing from Ankara. Conservative New Democracy's shadow foreign minister Panos Panayotopoulos said the revelations cast heavy shadows over Greek-Turkish relations, and called on Turkey recompense Greece for losses incurred, following an official complaint from Greece on 24 December seeking clarification over comments by former Prime Minister Mesut Yilmaz relating to forest fires in Greece in the mid-1990s. The Greek and Turkish foreign ministers, Stavros Dimas and Ahmet Davutoglu, spoke on Wednesday 28 December. Dimas stressed how important it was that Ankara investigate the claims that in the past Turkey's intelligence services paid arsonists to set fire to forests in Greece. In addition to Greek foreign ministry meetings with Turkish officials, Greece's Supreme Court prosecutor Yanis Tentas launched an emergency inquiry on 27 December, ordering the investigations into the mid-1990s wildfires blamed on arson to be reopened with regard to the initial claims reportedly made by Yilmaz. Former head of Greek intelligence service Leonidas Vasilakopoulos said they had received information from their agents in Turkey that Turkish agents or others were involved in the forest fires on Greek islands. After making the comments in Turkish daily newspaper Burgun, Yilmaz said that his words had been distorted and that he was referring to Greek agents causing fires in Turkey. However, on Thursday 29, Turkish daily Milliyet published an article referring to a secret report that seemed to support claims made in the interview by Mesut Yilmaz that secret agents had caused forest fires in Greece in the 1990s. According to Milliyet, an associate of Yilmaz's, Kutlu Savas, compiled a 12-page report that detailed the actions of Turkish agents in Greece. It described how the National Intelligence Organization of Turkey had formed two teams, one which carried out bombings at tourist sites on Crete and other parts of Greece and another which was responsible for starting the wildfires. An attack on an army camp in Lamia, central Greece, is also mentioned. Balkan states Turkey has close historical, cultural, economic and political ties with some of the Balkan states, which are important for Turkey as they're the country's gateway to continental Europe. Turkey attaches importance to the creation of an atmosphere of mutual understanding and peaceful cohabitation through closer ties with the Balkan countries, which would lead to the preservation of peace and stability in the region. Turkey has participated in NATO operations and peacekeeping missions, contributing to the KFOR and the UN police mission in Kosovo, as well as the EU-led police mission, Proxima, in the Republic of Macedonia. Turkey is also contributing to the EUFO Althea. For the reconstruction efforts, Turkey is part of launching the Southeast European Cooperation Process and the multinational peace force Southeast Europe, Southeastern Europe Brigade. Turkey also plays a role in regional economic initiatives as well as the Stability Pact for Southeastern Europe initiated by the EU and the Southeast European Cooperative Initiative. Russia. Following immediately after the dissolution of the Soviet Union, relations between the two nations dramatically and strongly improved, although disagreements regarding the border dispute over the Caucasus and support of each other's lifelong historical adversaries both linger. Russia is somewhat skeptical of Turkey's admission into the European Union and has recognized the Armenian genocide, which has the potential of damaging its relations with Turkey. but both countries are key strategic partners in the Transcaucasian region. Turkish Prime Minister Erdogan flew to Sochi, Russia, for the 16th of May 2009 working visit with Russian Prime Minister Vladimir Putin, at which he stated, "Turkey and Russia have responsibilities in the region. We have to take steps for the peace and well-being of the region. This includes the Nagorno-Karabakh problem, the Middle East dispute, the Cyprus problem." Putin responded that, "Russia and Turkey seek for such problems to be resolved and will facilitate this in every way, but as for difficult problems from the past, and the Karabakh problem is among such issues, a compromise should be found by the participants in the conflict. Other states which help reach a compromise in this aspect can play a role of mediators and guarantors to implement the signed agreements." Whilst on the subject of energy security, Erdogan stated that the agreement on gas supplies through the so-called Western Route signed in 1986 is expiring in 2012. "We have agreed today to immediately start work to prolong this agreement." Putin made a reciprocal visit to Turkey in June. In November 2015, Turkey shot down a Russian Sukhoi Su-25 aircraft in Syrian airspace, and since then relations have deteriorated significantly. During a Russian military briefing in December, officials from the Russian Defense Ministry accused Turkey of purchasing and smuggling in oil from ISIL in Syria. The officials provided alleged videos and photos of the smuggling as evidence. The claims were quickly dismissed by much of the international community after analysts revealed that the supposed smuggling routes were not under ISIL control. Russia later accused Turkey of deploying troops in Iraq without the permission of Iraqi government authorities. Turkey and Ukraine have a long chronology of historical, geographic, and cultural contact. Diplomatic relations between both countries were established in the early 1990s when Turkey became one of the first states in the world to announce officially about recognition of sovereign Ukraine. Turkey has an embassy in Kiev and a consulate general in Odessa. Ukraine has an embassy in Ankara and a consulate general in Istanbul. Turkey is a full member of NATO and Ukraine is a candidate. Also, both countries are BLACKSEAFOR and BSEC members. South Caucasus. The former Soviet republics in the South Caucasus are important for Turkey politically, economically, socially and culturally. The government develops policies in this region taking into account its strategic importance, due to its energy resources and pipeline corridors, and collaborates with its South Caucasus neighbors in the BSEC, the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe and the Council of Europe. Armenia-Turkey relations have long been strained by a number of historical political issues, including Turkish dispute of the Armenian genocide during World War I. Also contributing to the tensions have been terrorist attacks on Turkish citizens and diplomats by the Armenian militant groups Armenian Secret Army for the Liberation of Armenia and Justice Commandos of the Armenian Genocide in the 1970s and 1980s. Turkey's indirect support for Azerbaijan in the Nagorno-Karabakh War, as well as in potential border disputes between Azerbaijan and Armenia, was an issue in the 1990s. There are no formal diplomatic relations between the two modern states. Turkey recognized the state of Armenia soon after its 1991 independence, but formal diplomatic relations were not established. Issues came to a head in 1993 when Turkey sided with its fellow Turkic ally Azerbaijan over the Nagorno-Karabakh War by closing its borders with Armenia, and were exacerbated by subsequent pipeline and infrastructure projects that bypassed Armenia, and Armenia's controversial decision to recommission the outdated Metsimor nuclear power plant just 16 kilometers from Turkey's border. In the wake of the 2007 murder of Turkish-Armenian intellectual Hrant Dink by a Turkish gunman, and the ensuing scandal in which his killer was pictured while holding up a Turkish flag, flanked by smiling government employees, Tens of thousands of Turkish citizens marched throughout the country in protest in support of Dink. The subsequent diplomatic tour saw Turkish President Abdullah Gül become the first ever Turkish leader to visit Armenia, and the announcement of a provisional roadmap for normalizing diplomatic ties. It was announced that Turkey and Armenia agreed to establish diplomatic relations on 10 October 2009. However, those diplomatic efforts to normalize the relations have faltered. Armenia suspended the ratification process, citing preconditions set forth by Turkey. Azerbaijan. See Azerbaijan-Turkey relations. Azerbaijan-Turkey relations have always been strong, with the two often being described as one nation with two states, due to a common culture and history, and the mutual intelligibility of Turkish and Azerbaijani. Turkey has been a staunch supporter of Azerbaijan in its efforts to consolidate its independence, preserve its territorial integrity, and realize its economic potential arising from the rich natural resources of the Caspian Sea. Today, the relationship with Azerbaijan represents the most important bilateral partnership in current Turkish foreign policy, while Azerbaijan foreign policy affirms its relationship with Turkey as one of its most enduring bilateral relationships, as evidenced in aligned political affairs, mutual cooperation in the areas of trade, commerce, finance, technology, diaspora, academics, as well as the arts and sciences, the sharing of government and military intelligence, and joint combat operations and peacekeeping missions carried out between Azerbaijani armed forces and Turkish armed forces. Georgia. See Georgian-Turkish relations. Turkey has a close partnership relations with Georgia. Turkish citizens can use the Batumi Airport in Georgia, which is run by Turkey's TPRAKFNVI consortium, without a visa or passport. Turkey views the Abkhazian and South Ossetian conflicts as a potential danger to peace and stability in the entire region. The resolution of these problems is essential for the preservation of peace and stability in the area. Turkey has shown a readiness to be a negotiator for the Abkhazian conflict.